My name is Daniel Barton of Webcomic, GuberandCindy.com, and you are watching the summer edition 2013 of the Webcomic Show. That's good.
Webcomic Show!
On today's show, I talked to a super fan of Penny Arcade. Also, a very short interview with Javis, Saeed, Colin, and Brandon before they go to Con Bravo in Canada. What's that all about? First, we get into the summer movies I've been watching. The Man of Steel and Pacific Rim. The Man of Steel was awesome. It was an epic science fiction battle flick, and with some really cool scenes of Superman flying through the sky. Pacific Rim was a beautifully created world by Guillermo del Toro of robots and monsters, battling it out in the sea and in the city. Epic fights of enormous scale. I will stop this apocalypse! 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 This apocalypse ain't happening! How about the big news of San Diego Comic-Con? The director of Man of Steel announced that Batman will be in the new Superman. This could be one of the biggest movies ever. So will they fight? And if they do, who will win? Place your bets below. Please place your bets below in the comments. In my comic of GuberandCindy.com, I've been doing a lot of stuff that's exploring Goober's love for food. In this comic, I've received the most likes ever. I would like to thank everybody that took the time to share and like this strip. You guys are awesome. If you want your video on the Webcomic Show, get in touch with me through Twitter at GuberandCindy or my contact page at GuberandCindy.com. On to the first interview. I speak to Brandon, Javis, Colin, Saeed while they meet up in Canada to go to Con Bravo.
Let's bring in the... I think he's going to take a picture of us.
Well, I'm filming it. This is going to be on the Webcomic Show.
Oh, there we go.
How you doing, Javis?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Did you sleep well?
Yeah. Well.
And where's Saeed?
Get in here, you. There we go.
Awesome.
There we all are.
All right, so everybody, this is the Webcomic Show. It's a special edition with Brandon and Colin Oliver, Javis Ray, and Saeed Farizadeh.
Hello.
Did I? So what's it like to meet each other?
I don't know, like it's like I've known these guys, because we have, it's just that they weren't physically in front of us, and now they don't have a box around them like you do. Yeah. So I'm going to guess that it was like you and Saeed meeting for the first time, and that's like, oh, that's what you look like, not in a screen.
Exactly.
In 3D. And incidentally enough, you and I, Daniel, are taller than everybody expects.
And what was it like for you, Saeed?
Javis here. Learned a lesson. We all learned a lesson. The Canadian Border Patrol is a stern, harsh mistress that if you're entirely honest with them about your intentions with their daughter, will take you aside and have at least 3 father figures give you a stern talking to. Yeah. That's an accurate description of that. It was, yeah. She was attractive, though. Yes, apparently she was attractive. Yeah. That's the problem. She pierced your soul, didn't she? She did a lot. Yeah. She may have made you do things that you don't remember. She could have. She was a witchy woman.
Yep, and for me it was totally like Brandon said. It was just like natural. Like I already knew him. It's just I could touch him.
Now there was a situation that unfolded when we got here. My neighbor is, shall we say, he has a very unique sense of humor, and It's special. He dressed up in a full wolf onesie, proceeded to show up, and was probably a little bit more touchy than he should have been.
Yeah.
But that happened. That was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
And then we all drank, and all was well. There was drinking, and there was pizza, and yeah.
You've had poutine, Javis?
Not yet.
I haven't had it yet. That's the plan today. Tim Hortons and poutine is the plan. I fried up some bacon, bologna, and eggs.
I'm doing an interview with a super fan of Penny Arcade. You all know what who Penny Arcade is, of course?
I've heard of them.
Who has merchandise of Penny Arcade?
I have books.
Yeah, you got the book. I got a book.
I got books and about all 3 seasons on DVD or Comic Con.
I actually don't own a single Penny Arcade thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the only one.
I think I'm the only one. I don't own a single thing. I would buy a cardboard too.
Who reads their strip and how often?
I read their strip every post usually.
Yeah, I catch most of them.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for a few years now.
Yeah, that's...
Well, that was it. Thanks for your time, guys.
Is that fun? So you're talking to a super fan?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to talk to him.
Cool. Tell him to follow Twex.com Legacy Control and the Frumps.
I will.
Because we're all together now, and you never know what we're capable of.
Guys, have lots of fun because you haven't been to the convention yet.
We're all going to be there, sharing a table, sharing our love with random strangers, hoping that they don't smell funny.
Awesome. Okay, have a great day, guys. Thanks again.
You too.
Bye-bye. A year ago, I thought it would be a great idea to interview a superfan of one of the biggest, most popular gaming webcomics out there. I searched for quite a while, and like Lurch of the Addams Family, this superfan responded to my request for an interview. It's very clear he has a lot of enthusiasm and love for the webcomic and for the community. Please enjoy this interview with a true superfan of Penny Arcade. Hey everybody, my name is Daniel Barton of GooberandCindy.com, and this is the summer edition 2013 of the Webcomic Show. And on today's show, I talked to a superfan of Penny Arcade. Webcomic Show! Penny Arcade coming down the street. Penny Arcade, can you feel the heat? Penny Arcade, a webcomic duet. Penny Arcade, kings of the internet. Penny Arcade, laugh with hilarity. Penny Arcade's got against charity. PAX is a festival show for all kinds of gamers. They got a lot of trouble with trolls, losers, and flamers. Penny Arcade coming down the street. Penny Arcade, can you feel the heat? Penny Arcade, a webcomic duet. Penny Arcade, kings of the internet. Feel the heat. Penny Arcade, a webcomic duet. Penny Arcade, kings of the internet. Penny Arcade, coming down the street. Penny Arcade, can you feel the heat? Penny Arcade, a webcomic duet. Penny Arcade, kings of the internet. Now, give it a go. Come on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was awesome. I loved it.
Thanks.
That was great, man. I love the beat on it. No, that was freaking great.
Awesome, thanks.
Like and favorite that. Okay. That was awesome.
Before we get full on into the interview of Penny Arcade, please tell the viewers your name, where you're from, and your favorite snack.
My name is Wesley Gemeinhard. Online, I am Lance Icarus. I am from Seattle, Washington. And my favorite snack is Cadbury eggs.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's so good.
When was
So
the last?
good.
When was the last one you had?
Just before Easter. It's like the worst snack to like because it goes away.
So you're a super fan of Penny Arcade. Could you give the viewers a description of Penny Arcade? And well, you sent me some pictures of your merchandise. Maybe describe that.
Well, basically, Penny Arcade in a nutshell is just a gaming webcomic about Gabe and Tycho and their adventures throughout gaming. They are basically the predominant gaming webcomic that all other gaming webcomics are compared to. Merchandise I have is some of their books. They have their Penny Arcade volumes. I have 1 through 6. 7 and 8 I'm going to be buying in next PAX. I kind of have a tradition where I buy the next to latest book at PAX, so I can buy the next book at the next PAX.
So the one
Something weird like that.
I read about one book, The Splendid Magic of Penny Arcade, the 11th and a half anniversary edition. Have you heard about that book?
I have, and I want to get it so bad.
I'm
saving up money right now.
Okay, so you can just order it online. It's just saving up for it. Is it more expensive than the other books?
Yeah, I'm ashamed that I do not have that book.
Tell people about that book. What's so special about that book?
It's just a collection of just the Penny Arcade history up until that point. It's a kind of an anthology of just a bunch of crap. It's hard to explain. It's just basically their anniversary book of the entirety of Penny Arcade.
You've shown me your book collection. You have shirts. Do you also have any toys of them?
I do not have toys. I don't do well with toys. I have no place to put them.
They don't have that many toys, do they? They just like have that one. That's all I've seen. The one samurai thing.
Yeah, what they tend to have more is like the resin figures, like the big like scale, the fruit effer. Fruit Lover, I guess. If you want to go PG. And then there's the cardboard tube samurai you were talking about.
Who introduced you to Penny Arcade?
Who introduced me to Penny Arcade? Friend of mine back in when I was starting college. He was just like, well, actually in high school, somebody had it as their background. They actually made a feed that the latest Penny Arcade comic be the background in their on the school computer. And I asked him about it, and he was just like, oh, it's a comic I follow. And I didn't pay much attention to it until college, or somebody else introduced me to it as like, okay, what is this thing? So I went online to their site, and I read through like their entire archive in a week.
How long have you been a fan of Penny Arcade?
Oh, that would be probably since around 04, 05, almost 10 years now.
And could you tell the viewers what are the personalities like of Penny Arcade?
Of the Penny Arcade, like the characters?
Yes.
Well, you have Gabe, who's kind of an oddball. He's not quite so bright, but he's got a lot of heart, and he is minorly psycho. Then you have Tycho Bray, who is hyper intelligent, and almost because of that, he hates everything. Hates everything and everyone, except basically tabletop games. The characters have evolved over the years to become more like them, because they grew up, they had families, and they kind of talk more about those experiences. At their basis, that's what those characters are. How
long has it been running? Was it always 3 times a week?
Right at the very beginning, I don't know, because they started like I want to say 98.
I think so too.
Is when they started.
Mm-hmm.
They were fresh out of high school doing that. But yeah, I think they updated 3 times a week. I think this has been pretty irregular. The only thing that's changed is they used to do donations to keep the site up and have no ads and stuff. Well, I guess now they actually just started doing that again through Kickstarter.
Have you ever participated through Kickstarter? Have you ever helped them out, or?
Yeah, I have. When they were the latest go around, when they were reintroducing their podcasts about when they would do the comic writing, I pitched in that almost immediately. I used to love those podcasts. They are probably the 2 most Mike Krahulik and Jerry Holkins are probably like 2 of the most entertaining people to listen to while they work.
Have you ever watched the videos of them, Penny Arcade TV?
I watched all of them. They do a really great job editing that. It's so much fun, especially I love those podcasts, and when they started doing the 4th panels on PATV, that was easily the best part, because then I actually got to see them while they were screwing around. Yeah, I go back and watch them every once in a while.
Which comic strip got you hooked on Penny Arcade? Was there a specific one?
I don't know if it was really a specific one. I knew I was going to be a lifelong fan when they came out with the comic, I Hope You Like Text, where it's all about Gabe talking about how like Warhammer is coming out, and it's like World of Warcraft, and Tycho, knowing that Warhammer is like way older, it tells him like, one more word out of your goddamn mouth. It's like, but it's just like Warcraft, and then just goes in this huge like just box after box of text, just talking about how he's gonna create like a hell burrow to come and take Gabe away, and then sing the song that ends the world. I love that so much. When I saw that, I knew I was just in love with how Jerry wrote it, and I was just like, I gotta always know what he's up to.
Just going back to your merchandise, you had a story about one of the books.
Yeah, I actually had a story. I have a story about the Red Tide box. Yeah, they had the Red Tide card game. Last year at PAX, there was a contest for the people in line. At PAX, they have what's called line management, like line entertainment crews, where if they see like a particularly long line, usually around main theater, they will send people to go entertain everyone with games and songs and stuff like that. Well, I was getting ready for a panel over in like Unicorn Theater. This guy was going around and wanted to have a contest. Basically, both people are gonna give a confession about something geeky that they haven't done. The person who got booed the most for not having done that geeky thing would win the prize. Now, I'm a lifelong fan of pro wrestling as well, and if there's anybody that knows how to turn a crowd against them, it's a pro wrestler. I've got up there and I summed up all my heel tactics. Like, the other person like hadn't played Zelda before, and everyone was sympathetic towards them. And I just straight up and I go, I've never seen and I will never see Doctor Who. And everyone's just like, boo! And I'm like, I'll boo you and your TARDISes. I'm just going straight bad guy here. I got the whole room just booing me.
Awesome.
And of course I won the thing hands down because I was egging the crowd on. And the guy comes over to me right at the end of it. It's just like, you knew you were going to do that, weren't you? And I was like, yeah. I won the Penny Arcade card game starter pack, Red Tide. It's just based off their weird but really hilarious, like, especially you watched old Cold War thrillers. It's basically, the Red Tide thing is basically what if the Cold War was fought through ping pong? It's freaking bizarre, but it's so great. That's awesome. Another thing I actually like about Penny Arcade quite a bit is the way they'll just totally deviate from, like, talk about games, just these bizarre sub-stories, like the Cold War through ping pong, the line dancing. They had a whole thing on line dancing that was freaking hilarious. They do the really cool spoof stuff like Sand and Automata, sorry.
Sand is the one that they're currently doing, right?
Yeah, they're finally getting back to Sand, and it's one of my favorites so far. I didn't like it so much on the very first one because it just looked like a Western, but it's gone in totally cuckoo bonkers places that I'm really enjoying.
When did they publish their first book?
Their first book, Attack of the Bacon Robots, was published in 2005. That was the first book they were able to publish because they originally were trying to do a book thing ages upon ages ago. They weren't very good at reading contracts at all, and they basically accidentally signed over the rights to their publisher. The main thing that came out of that was they went through years upon years of litigation, and if it wasn't for Robert Koo, they probably wouldn't even have anything right now. Robert Koo is like, I'm weird. Out of the whole like Penny Arcade organization, my favorite person is not actually Jerry or Mike. It's actually Robert Koo. I love that guy. I met him a few times when I was an enforcer at PAX. He's easily the coolest part about Penny Arcade for me.
He looks like he's a lot of fun and a hard worker as well.
Yeah, he's the enforcers have a kind of a saying, the Iron Fist of Koo. He is when he's going around PAX, he's going around as a general. He'll stay pretty casual when he has a little downtime, but when he's on the move, his phone's constantly going off. When I was around him, he had the Metal Gear Solid broop thing for when a guard saw you. You just keep you know he was coming when he would hear the broop coming up behind you.
Have they ever autographed any of your stuff?
Yeah, I've gotten a few autographs. I think my badge, I have a picture of my 2012 badge, but I have a Jerry's autograph on the back of that. I also have an autograph from the very first piece of pack of Penny Arcade merchandise ever received. I forgot to take a picture of it. It's a poster with Tycho in the corner wearing a black motorcycle helmet because he hates being outside in the sun, with like an ice cream cone. Yeah, they autographed. My friend got that autograph for me.
Did Jerry or Mike sign it, or both?
Jerry and Mike for the poster, just Jerry for my badge. I think I might actually have both of them sign my next book, the next book I'm going to get. Yeah, it's just, I've, like I said, I've met them so many times, I don't really ask for autographs.
Do you have any original artwork of Mike?
I don't. It's just that I'm not a very rich man, and his work, especially now, like, it gets sold off at Child's Play for hundreds of dollars. It's just like, I'd love to have original artwork for him, but I just don't have the money.
Hopefully he will watch this podcast and send you one.
Yes. Mike, if you're listening to this, that's exactly what you have to do. Listen to this man.
All right.
He's full of good ideas.
Your personal favorites. Why do you love Penny Arcade?
Why Penny Arcade? I love it because they're just not afraid to say what's on their mind. Like, you know, I read a lot of webcomics, and there's so many that are just afraid of offending somebody out there, or they're afraid of, you know, pulling punches, or at their worst, afraid of messing with advertisers. Penny Arcade has never been that. They will offend, they will say what's on their minds, and what you're going to get is always going to be honest.
Have you ever met Mike or Jerry in person, and are they the most famous people you've ever met?
Yes, I've met Mike and Jerry in person quite a few times. As an enforcer, at PAX, I would, meet them off and on when they were around. I've talked to them a few times at one of their signings, and especially at Emerald City Comic Con, which is a comic convention up here in Seattle. They went to that a few times, and I talked to them mostly there because they're far less busy than they are at their own convention. As the most famous people I've ever met, I feel like they're not. I would say I met Jonathan Colton over at PAX. Yeah, he was doing a show there, and I was in backstage helping out. Jonathan Colton is a famous YouTube musician who basically did a song a day thing for 365 days, and ever since he's been everybody loves him. He's big in nerd culture, very much so, because he usually sings about like Tech Monkey and Skull Crusher Mountain, great songs. I probably met more famous wrestlers. Used to do ring local promotion, so yeah, I met a lot of wrestlers that way.
If you could be one of the Penny Arcade characters, Gabe or Tycho, which one would you be?
Tycho, landslide, easy. I highly value intelligence, and I've been Tycho at one point in my life, like back in high school. The hyper-intelligent don't want, or at least feels like he's hyper-intelligent, doesn't want to interact with anybody, and everything else deserves just death and fire, and being super wordy.
Their workplace, how many people work at Penny Arcade? I think it's about 10. That's what I read on the net.
Yeah, it should be around 10, because they have Mike, Jerry, Erica, PRD, Ku, Satsad, Kiko, yeah, and there's like a few more people that don't get a whole lot of love on the show.
What show are you referring to?
Penny Arcade TV.
I know that Scott Kurtz is a friend of Penny Arcade. Do you have any stories about how that friendship came to be?
They're very interesting, between Scott Kurtz and Penny Arcade. Yeah, they hated each other initially. They were not friends, because I was actually at a Penny Arcade panel where they were kind of up there with Scott Kurtz, and they were talking about their history, where they initially hated each other for the longest time because the Penny Arcade guys thought Scott Kurtz had screwed them out of something. I can't recall immediately what that was, but it was like a book thing or a merchandise thing, and he thought Scott Kurtz said some bad things to them, and then Scott was on stage, he's like, "Oh, I never said any of those things. There's this and this." Is like, "Oh, so we hate each other for 10 years over nothing." Basically, it just came to the point where they both kind of grew up, and they just didn't want to be angry at each other anymore. And then when they ended up sitting down and chatting with each other, they realized they actually, liked each other. They were to be fast friends. I know now, Scott Kurtz is working in the Penny Arcade offices. He actually moved up from Texas to work with Penny Arcade. Yeah, he's living up in Seattle, and he works out of the Penny Arcade offices. If you ever see him on Penny Arcade TV, his office is down the hall from Mike and Jerry's now. Because
he did a TV show on Penny Arcade TV, I think, where he teams up with somebody, Kurtz and
Chris
and Scott show or something like that.
No, they've been friends. Those two have been friends for a while. They wrote the webcomic book they wrote the Guide to Webcomics book, which is really great if you're first starting out in webcomics. It's a great book to have.
Okay, Strip Search. Can you tell us what Strip Search is?
Strip Search is actually a product of a stretch goal from their Kickstarter to remove ads from their site. It is basically a reality show competition for webcomic artists. It has all the theatrics. It has the trash bin of shame, and it has they even have like elimination rounds and everything like that. You know, short of handing them a rose.
What did you think of the first season of Strip Search without giving any spoilers away?
I do have a confession to make. I have not seen the first season of Strip Search.
Oh!
Yeah, I've actually been holding off because I want to watch it with a few of my friends, and I've never been able to hook up with them. Like, with Strip Search, I wanted the whole season to go through, and then so I could just plow through it.
Yeah, that's the
I'm
best
not one
way.
of those people who likes to sit around and wait for, I'm one of those people who like to go on Netflix and watch whole seasons in one sitting. So I was waiting for it to end, and after it ended, I just never got to it. I really need to freaking sit down and watch that whole series. I can't believe I haven't.
PAX Expo. You've mentioned a couple of times you are an enforcer. Can you explain to the people what that is?
An enforcer is basically a volunteer force that helps keep order and help run the Penny Arcade Expo. As I've classified it before, it is the best 3-day job in the world. Yeah, you're basically helping to organize and help run PAX at a grunt level. But yeah, it doesn't feel like grunt work. It feels like just awesome. It feels more like you're running a party.
How many PAX Expos have you been to?
I've been going since 2006. I was enforcer from 2006 to 2010. After that, I started coming with more and more friends I want to hang out with at the show, and I love being an enforcer, but unfortunately you do get scheduled shifts. You get like 6-8 hour shifts, and where you're at your station, and I wanted to hang out with my friends while I was at the show, and I had to drop out. But if I was asked, I'd be a enforcer again, drop of a hat.
How did you become a member of the PAX organization?
I became an enforcer. Every year they give out the call. They call it for volunteers to come and become an enforcer. Back when I was doing it in 2006, they were still in the Maidenbauer Center over in Bellevue. It's a much smaller venue. It was their last year doing it there, but it was pretty easy to become an enforcer. And after that, you could just re-sign up every year. Yeah, it was just basically filling out the form and becoming a volunteer and getting in touch with PRD, Princess Red Dot, who's basically the stone-fisted leaders of the enforcer group.
Do you ever get tired at the PAX convention?
I say fatigued is the better word, because to say I get tired, I mean, granted, you only sleep maybe 4 hours if you get that much sleep at PAX, because there's stuff going on 24/7 there. But I never feel tired. I'm always just having so much fun. I'm always walking around doing so much down there. I do kind of go into zombie mode every once in a while, but no, I don't get tired.
So what is PAX like?
PAX is like if a bunch of the biggest group of gamers you've ever seen quarantined off a section of the city just for them. It feels a lot like if somebody if Disneyland was a flash mob. PAX, especially now, it's basically 2-3 city blocks of just straight convention, where the Paramount Theater is part of PAX, the convention center. They used to have Benaroya Hall. I think Disneyland Flash Mob is what it really feels like, because just a bunch of people show up and expect to have fun.
So how many people come to PAX?
I haven't really seen official numbers since I was an enforcer, but it's like in the hundreds of thousands. It's easily the biggest convention that comes around Seattle. I think it's the biggest gaming convention in North America. I think only Gamescom rivals it worldwide, the German gaming convention. Yeah, it's absolutely gigantic, and they're struggling every year to try to either get more people into PAX, because the passes sell out within hours now, because so many people are going that they're just running out of room. They have the entire convention center, which is like a 6-story building. Like every room is filled with PAX stuff. Then there's the convention annex across the way, which is a 2-story a 3-story building, and then they have the Paramount Theater for their main theater down the way. It's just huge.
What are the people like at PAX?
You think that that big, with all the stereotypes and everything, that huge amount of gamers would just be a cesspool of just horrible people. But I mean, they're the coolest people I've ever met. Every time, I'm shocked with how because I've gone to other conventions before, and this is easily the most well-behaved, the coolest group. They're all just in a mindset. There's this packed mindset when you go down there, just wanting to have fun. Nobody comes with malice. Nobody comes with anything. Like, the only people I've ever seen get in trouble when I was an enforcer were either other enforcers who wanted to have more fun than work, and like press people who would do things like get a little too drunk and hit on too many women and stuff like that, make people uncomfortable. But the actual attendees themselves are just the coolest people on the planet. I love them. I love them all.
Have you made a lot of friends there at PAX?
Yeah, it's kind of weird just because it's hard to like keep friends after PAX because people come from all over the country. Somebody will go back off to like North Carolina or Florida or Canada or back to Australia. But when you're there, you kind of form these like little mini alliances with people. Where if you see them, then you go and do a few things with them. Like if you need a fourth person for the Rock Band set, you'll see if you can grab them real fast, that kind of thing.
So that's a lot of fun stuff. What's not fun at PAX?
I guess the part that's not fun at PAX, as much as I love everybody there, it's a lot of people, so the lines they're both long and they feel fast. A couple years ago, a buddy of mine wanted to get into a Skyrim panel, and he was told to come back in like 5 minutes. He checked on the line in 3 minutes, and somebody accidentally opened up the line, and it filled instantaneously. Like, speaking as an enforcer who's done a little bit of line duty, it's really a sight to behold. Just to watch, just like you open up the line, everyone just like shifts against the wall.
How long is the drive to PAX for you?
Well, I just live in the Seattle suburbs nearby, so it's just like it's barely a 40-minute drive for me. Oh, wow. But I still get a hotel and stuff when I'm down there. I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have to fly in or anything, so I don't have to coordinate all that. Yeah, I'm very lucky that PAX is here. I get a hotel when I'm down there because it sucks driving from PAX back home and then coming back because one, it's less time you could be spending sleeping or playing games or something, and also it sucks leaving PAX. So I hate doing that like 3 times in a row. I only want to leave it once, and that's because I'm coming back next year.
So what's your feeling when you leave PAX?
The initial feeling is you're still full of adrenaline and you just can't stop talking about all the cool stuff you saw over there, all the people you met, and stuff like that. But as soon as the adrenaline's gone, you pass out wherever you happen to be standing. This year's PAX is 4 days long. I don't know if I'm actually going to survive, so this might be my last recorded message.
Child's Play, their charity. Tell me about their charity.
The Child's Play charity is something they started up in response to a guy named Fred Thompson. I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's basically a lawyer from Florida who basically decided to villainize video games for everything. Like, if whatever happened in the world, if somebody stepped on a pin, it was video games' fault. So in response to the idea of Fred Thompson's portrayal of gamers, where they're just these horrible, selfish, murder machines. I think he called them murder machines at one point. Paracare responded with, okay, how about we show you how great we can be? And they started Child's Play. Like anything good with Penny Arcade, it started with them trying to get revenge on someone. Ever since it started, it blossomed in this multi-million-dollar charity that provides entertainment for children's hospitals. They'll provide game systems and things like DSs and stuff for kids who are stuck in the hospital and have nothing to do and stuff like that. I don't know if you've been in the hospital for a long amount of time. It gets boring fast. You're just sitting in a white room for the entire day, especially if you're on bed rest. So the idea of Child's Play is just to give them something to do while they're in that room and something to concentrate on. That's not their pain. That's not their isolation if no one's there. It's a very worthwhile charity. It's great stuff.
I've read a little bit about it. I think it's a great charity. Have you ever donated? Because I'm thinking about donating as well.
I've only donated small amounts. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of a poor guy. It's been hard to. I support them 110%. I kind of do other stuff like Desert Bus for Hope is something the Loading Ready Run guys do, where they play the horrible Penn and Teller game Desert Bus, which basically is a bus in real time going from Las Vegas to Tucson, Arizona, which is like a 4-hour drive. It's the worst thing imaginable, and they play it, and if you donate a certain amount of money, it's like another hour that they play.
What superhero would you like to be?
What superhero would I like to be?
Yes.
God, there's so many to choose from. I'm weird. One of my favorite superheroes back in the day was the X-Men member Angel. I just really liked his backstory and everything, and I'm lame. I'd probably be Angel. He just has wings.
What comics have you collected?
I collected a lot of X-Men comics when I was a kid. I have a few like Batman trades. Other than that, a lot of my books are actually webcomic books. Like, Penny Arcade, of course, Rooster Teeth, Mega Tokyo, Awkward Zombie, stuff like that. Like, I collect a lot more webcomic stuff than I do, press comic.
What other webcomics do you like?
Woo! Do we have time for that?
What are your go-to What are your go-to strips? Obviously, you go to Penny Arcade.
Yeah, Penny Arcade, VG Cats, whenever the freaking updates, Awkward Zombie, Misfile, Legacy Control, Of Noobs and Men. It's hard to think about them all at once. Yeah, we'll just go with that list for now, and then just say many, many more.
Awesome. And before this podcast, yesterday, I interviewed Brandon and Colin Oliver of Twex.com and Saeed of the Prumps and Javis Ray of Legacy Control. I had to make sure I said you should go out and check out Twex.com, Legacy Control, and thefrumps.com. Now I've said it. What's your...
I've read Frumps. It's a good comic.
Awesome. What's your favorite video game?
Oh, that's not fair to ask a gamer.
What video game are you currently playing?
Much easier question. Final Fantasy 12, actually. I'm doing a classics run, going on my PS2, and finally finishing this game. My girlfriend's really pushing me to play because it's one of her favorite Final Fantasies. So I'm working through it right now. I'm also playing Saints Row the Third with a buddy of mine, and I'm also finishing up Persona 3.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Airplane.
With Wesley, what's his name? Leslie Nielsen, right?
Leslie Nielsen, yep. Absolutely adore that movie.
I like The Naked Gun, and I don't think I've ever watched Airplane fully through, but I really love Naked Gun. I don't know if you like that one.
I love the Naked Gun series. Leslie Nielsen is one of my favorite actors of all time. So yeah, I've watched quite a few with stuff with things with him, but make time to watch Airplane. It's good.
I will. Have you seen Superman, the Man of Steel?
The newest one? Yeah, I have seen it.
And how was it?
Whew. I think the fight scenes were some of the coolest fight scenes I've seen in a long time in cinema, even including in the Avengers. But when it comes to plot and writing, not the strongest showing ever. I guess if I was going to give it a star system, I'd give it like a 3.5. It's a perfectly sensible movie, but it's not the best possible Superman movie. I am looking forward to the next one, the one that's gonna have Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Who do you think is gonna be the new Batman?
Who do you think is gonna be the new Batman? I think Christian Bale is actually gonna come back.
Even though
I know he said he.
Yeah, he said he's not gonna.
I know he says that, but a lot of people say that before the dump truck of money backs up into their house. Yeah, I think he might just be holding out a little bit.
Can you do a Batman impression?
Why do you want to kill me?
Awesome. You got that from your wrestling skills, right?
Yes, I did.
Your favorite cartoon growing up?
My favorite cartoon growing up, I have a soft spot for Ren and Stimpy growing up just because I loved it as a kid, but it was me and my mom would always watch it together Saturday nights on Snick. It was my dad hated that show. He doesn't because it's a lot like bodily function kind of stuff. And he hates that kind of humor, but me and my mom would laugh our butts off at it, and I have good memories of it. The Omegathon is a event that spans the entirety of PAX. It's basically a 5-game decathlon kind of thing. The first 4 games are known, and you could train up for them and everything, but the very last round is a secret. And it may be the one thing that Penny Arcade actually takes very seriously. You're all locked in the main room, and once the game is put on for their testing, you can't leave. You can't have your cell phone out. You can't have anything. It's a big deal. And probably the worst ever experience I've ever had as Enforcer. It's like the only time I can think of that was bad. Okay, I also got swine flu one year at PAX. But that didn't feel nearly as bad as this being the doorman for the final round of PAX, for the final round of the Omegathon. At one point while I was there's supposed to be a side door that like VIPs could go through that, you couldn't see from the outside. You want to be able to see inside, that kind of thing. So I was supposed to direct people there. What they didn't tell me is they shut that door like halfway through my shift. So I was basically sending people on a wild goose chase and I didn't know it. After they had shut those down, a group of people come up to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't come in. You can't come in. We're setting up for the final round of the Omegathon. And the elderly woman up front says, I can go in. I'm Tycho's mom. And I, crap. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You can still come in. We have side doors, VIP side doors you can go through, to make sure that nobody outside sees the inside of it. It was like, well, why can't I come in through here? And it's like, well, if we open it up and somebody peeks in and sees the final round, then, the secret's out and everything's spoiled. And she's like, well, I don't think I need to go around to the side. I'm like, I don't want to start an argument with Tycho's mom. I don't want to start anything with Jerry's mom. This is terrible. But she eventually agrees to go around to the side. But like I said, the doors were closed. I said Tycho's mom on a wild goose chase. So she comes back mad. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like, no, there should be doors over there. Well, I didn't see any. And I was like, well, there should be something open. And now she's thinking I'm like saying that she's not smart enough to find the door or something like that. Man. And she's like, it's like, I'm going to walk in right through here. And I'm going to do that because, I should be able to get in there. And I'm in this rock and a hard place. Pork Fry is a friend of Mike and Jerry's that they've had in the strip a couple of times. He was there too, and while I was half arguing with Tycho's mom, he ran over to the side, away from me, to another set of doors, knocked on them, and one of the enforcers opened it from the inside. He wasn't supposed to, but Pork Fry is magic, and he managed to find the one door and a gullible enforcer was guarding. He opens it up, and that door opens up, and I'm like, that door's open, go over there! So she was able to get in, and I'm just like, I can't believe I had to do that.
But was she really his mom? Or couldn't she be someone that just saying?
It was actually Jerry's mother. Like, her badge, because there's like official VIP badges.
Okay.
All access badges. And, it was like Blaine Holkins. It was legitimately his mother.
Did you have any conversations later with Jerry then? Or
I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm not gonna bring up the fact like, hey, did your mom ever say anything about me? Like, because luckily, you're only as an enforcer, you're only known by your the name you have in the enforcer forum, so your screen name on there.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm never gonna tell him my real name now, in that I had once kicked his mom, told his mom he couldn't come in. I don't know if you have any idea who MC Frontalot is. He's been friends with Mike and Jerry for a while. He actually wrote the official Penny Arcade theme. He basically wrote like a theme for the webcomic. He didn't write it for anything or for anything special. He just wrote it for Mike and Jerry to enjoy. They've been friends for a while, and MC Frontalot has been the one music act that's been that's been invited back every year. We have what's called Bandland there too, where you can meet all the people, all the music acts from PAX and stuff like that. And one year as a enforcer, I was in charge with breaking down Bandland. By the time I got there, though, it was like, the convention had closed, and there was really no band people still left there, except for MC Frontalot. I ended up chatting with him and helping him take a whole bunch of stuff back to his hotel room. We were just chatting about the convention and stuff, and he's a really pleasant guy to be around. What I wasn't expecting, though, was when we got back to his room, his mother is his tour manager.
What's the thing with mothers?
I don't know. It just keeps happening. I didn't have to tell him not to go anywhere, though, so we got back to his room, and I ended up meeting his mom and everything. Couldn't be a more pleasant woman. I was just carrying this small, little, tiny box, just full of CDs, and he basically gave me, in return for helping him out, even though it was, technically my job as an enforcer, he still gave me, like, his entire history.
Awesome.
Of CDs. So I had, like, an entire MC Frontalot collection that he himself personally gave me and signed.
Awesome.
Just because I helped him out. Yeah, he's one of the coolest guys I've ever met. He's kick-ass.
What kind of music is it?
It's called nerdcore rap. Yeah, MC Frontalot is a rap thing. They're having more rap guys coming down there. Megaran, who's I met him before at a different chiptune thing. He's really cool. There was a time I caught swine flu over there as an enforcer, like my last year. That was not fun at all. I didn't know I was getting sick. I thought I was just starting to go in that fatigue phase that I was talking about earlier at PAX, but it just kept getting worse and worse. And by the last day of PAX, I was remembering things in snippets. Like, it might just be my memory, but I remember it kind of happening while I was there and doing stuff, because I was console free play that year. And basically what you had to do is you grab their badge and you take it in the back and switch it out with like a controller. You basically switch it out for a game for them to play. I remember picking up some people's badges, and then I was just at the wall of games. At no time did I recollect walking over there or coming back to the game. It was just stuff was happening. Before my shift was even over, I just started walking out of the room. I just left. I think somebody said something to me, but I was so far gone by that point that I just started walking out, and I found this chair under an escalator, and I sat down, and I remember I just keep feeling the floor moving. It felt like I was in the middle of an earthquake constantly. I somehow had enough mental cognition to call a friend of mine and tell him where I was. He went and grabbed me, and I remember specifically, he helped me up because I was having trouble standing up on my own. I remember asking him if the floor was shaking, and he said no. And I'm like, okay, I need to go home. I do not remember the next 4 days after that, but on the 5th day, I arose and I looked up PAX news online, and that's when they were mentioning the PAX pox. So somebody with swine flu had come in, and at a convention that big, something airborne is just devastating. Yeah, now they're like really hardcore about making sure everybody is clean and stuff. There's like L'Oreal antibacterial stuff everywhere now. But yeah, that may have been one of the most unpleasant experiences I've ever had in my life, let alone.
So thanks, Wesley, for coming on the Webcomic Show.
Hey, no problem at all, man. It was great being on.
It was great having you. If you decide to start up that strip again, I would love to have you on the show again.
Thank you very much. I both appreciate that, and I'm very glad to have done this interview. It was a lot of fun.
Have a great day today.
All right, you too, man. Bye.
Well, thanks everybody for watching the Webcomic Show. And if you want to promote your webcomic for free, send me a video of you promoting your webcomic. It's that easy. You can find me on Twitter at GooberandCindy or through my contact page on gooberandcindy.com. See you in the Webcomic Show!